Yes. And then now we are going to move our workshop. And then Monica, before the workshop, I have a question for you. When you prepare your speech title and content, do you have any issue with that?
Oh yeah, it's always very difficult to get some ideas when I start preparing. I wonder if there's any secret tips.
Yeah, me too. It's overwhelming for me when I prepare to speak. Yeah, and then but tonight, we have good news because we have expert coming to the meeting tonight, and she is a very experienced and very outstanding public speaker. Her name is Jenny, and then she is an author of 3 books and a publisher from Hong Kong. She is an activate member in Toastmaster community for almost 10 years, and then because we are so lucky and very excited to have her as a workshop speaker, and then she will deliver a very special presentation for us. Tonight, the title is Writing, my secret weapon for becoming a better speaker. Through this workshop, you will learn how writing has helped her to receive the speaking invitations and become the better speaker. And you will also learn some tips from her about how to craft an engaging speech. Let's welcome Jenny!
Thank you for the lovely introduction from Naomi. And I'm so honored to be here to give you this workshop, especially on this very special occasion. Actually, I was a little bit nervous when I was preparing this speech when I learned that it is your 36th anniversary. So I think that I have to prepare a really good speech. So what I'm going to cover in this talk is that first I will share with you my writing journey, and then I will share with you how writing can help one to become a better public speaker. And I will also share with you some tips on how to practice writing in daily life and how we can write a more engaging speech. So a little bit background about me. I'm from Hong Kong, and I've relocated to Taipei since February 2020. So it is my 14th month here, and because of the COVID situation, I have never been able to go back to Hong Kong. And I am an entrepreneur. I'm running 2 small businesses right now that keeps me very busy. I have an online Spanish school called Master Spanish Now, and I'm also working on my own publishing house. And I have a publishing house called Book and Pub, and basically what we do is to help authors to get their book published. And I also offer some digital marketing services, and I'm an author of 3 books. So these 2 are 2 books for me, and this paper was taken at one of the launch parties of my books. And I will tell you a little bit more later. So because today is such a special day, and before we dive in, I want to ask you a question. Why did you join Toastmaster? So learn English.
With new friends.
With new friends. Any other reason?
Who's that? Who needs one?
So I have been in Toastmaster community for 8 or 10 years. I just lost time. It has been a very long journey, but before I joined Toastmaster, I was like this. Whenever I got a chance to go onto the stage, I wasn't started off as a natural speaker. And before I joined Toastmaster, whenever I need to give a talk on the stage, I will get very nervous. And and my voice would tremble and I would be all shaking. But then, 8 years ago, I got a job offer from the University of Hong Kong as a tutor. So by the nature of my job, I need to give public speaking every day because I would need to teach in tutorials. So I thought I really should join Toastmaster Club so to polish my public speaking skills, and that's why. Okay, so I started to become an entrepreneur 6 years ago, and the first business that I started was the online Spanish school, and then I started my own small publishing house. And then, because I need to market, I need to promote my small businesses, and so I was trying different way to promote my businesses, and I find that for my industry, writing articles online would be the best way for me to promote my business. So I start to write intensively. I would write like at least several hundreds and sometimes thousands of words every day.
Oh, wow.
So I did a lot of writing, and when I gathered enough contacts and gathered enough experience, I published my first book. So this one is my first book, and I was very lucky. And when I published my first book and started to sell it on Amazon, it became the Amazon bestseller on the first day of sale. So I was very lucky, and then based on the experience of the first book, I published 2 other books in 2019 and 2020. So after I became an author and after I published all these 3 books, I got a lot of speaking invitations, and I got invited to different institutes in Hong Kong, and also some other institute like this. This is a Taekwondo school in Taichung, and this is a Rotary Club in Taipei, and this one is a Taipei meetup for entrepreneurs. So why I was invited to this event is because many people want to publish their book, and they're curious about their publishing process, and they want to know more, and they want to know how they can get their book published. So I was invited to give these talks at different occasions, and all of a sudden my stage fright was gone, and it was when I think back, I always feel that it's such a dramatic transformation. I was once a very nervous speaker on the stage, but then but because of all this invitation, it now has become very more easy for me to go onto the stage and just give a talk. And I was thinking, what caused the transformation? And I think there are 2 reasons. The first reason is because I have published a book. I have published books, and that actually gave me like a boost of confidence, because I feel that I have achieved something in my life. And then when you have published books and you become an author, actually it does transform the way how people see you and how people perceive you. And so when people see you as an author, you will naturally get a lot of invitation to give talks related to the topics of your books. So this is one reason. But I think that the second reason is the most important reason that helps the transformation, is because a lot of writing, intensive writing, regular writing helped me to become a better speaker. Okay, so how writings can help one to become a better speaker? First, I believe that in this room, me included, most of us would not be native English speaker. So if we are not native English speaker, then we would need a lot of exercise or practice to help us to practice expressing thoughts in English, because Mandarin or Chinese words were different from English. So I find that writing is a very good way to help me to practice expressing thought in English. We all know that in a toastmaster setting, there are usually two sections. So one is the prepared speech sessions, and then another would be the impromptu speech sessions. So for the prepared speech, if you want to give a very engaging, very attractive speech to your audience, you must have your script very well written. Like our two speakers tonight, Jin and Asan, they have offered us two beautiful speeches, and I believe that they must have put a lot of thought in writing out their script, and so that's why they can give us such beautiful content, beautiful speech. And so when we go up to the stage, I believe that every one of us would want to be like this guy, Steve Jobs, who speaks for Apple. So I believe that for Steve Jobs, why he can become such a successful speaker is because every time before he go onto the stage, he must have got his script very well prepared and very well written. So this makes him a very good speaker. So you may ask, so how about the table topic sections? We would not have any chance to like writing up a script before going onto the stage, right? But then I will say that regular writing practice is very useful for helping us to practice organizing ideas and presenting thought in a logical flow. And when we do a lot of writings, we would be very intentional about our choice of words. And if we have been intentional about our choice of words during our writing, it will help us to build a repertoire, like a bank or a stock of vocabulary. So when we go onto the stage and give an impromptu speech, and if we need any kind of vocabulary, it would be very easy for us to just grab those vocabulary from our brain. So that's how writing is helpful for that. So how can we practice more writing in our daily life? I would say there are two methods. The most classical way would be keeping a diary and journaling. And so I believe that every one of us can spare like 10 or 15 minutes every day to write on our journal and write down some reflections and thoughts of the day in English. But I know this is something theoretical and it is very difficult to keep this habit. So I'm offering you another easier way to do it, is to write more on social media. So you can write on any kind of social media, be like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But the key is that you have to do it regularly. And the reasons for me to encourage you to do that is because if you're writing on social media, you know that you must have audience or readers who will read your post. So you will have friends and family and perhaps your colleagues who will read your Facebook or Instagram or Twitter posts. So if you know that someone is reading your post, then you would want your writing to be nice, to be good to look at. So you will be putting a lot of intentions about the choice of words, and if you do it regularly, I'm sure you will be surprised of how much writing practice you can get out of writing your Twitter or Facebook or Instagram posts. So how can we do a more engaging speech? Whenever I prepare for a speech, I will divide it into 4 stages. And so when we are planning for a speech, the first thing we will do is probably we will decide on topic. But before we write down anything, I would suggest, I'm sure we will need to do some kind of research. We will need to have a very full understanding of our topics. And then when we have done our research, we should have a lot of ideas, so we will need to organize our ideas. And then, when we have got all our ideas organized, then we will need to write our speech. And then after finishing writing my speech, I will usually have a check on the whole speech and check on the choice of words and ways of expressions, because right choice of words and right ways of expressions will help enhancing, will help makes your speech more engaging. So I have actually prepared a mini exercise with you because I want to introduce to you a tools that I have been using a lot when I'm preparing speeches and actually all kinds of writing. So how much time? Okay, I still have.
10 to 15 minutes.
Oh, great. Then we can, we will probably be able to do this exercise together. Fantastic. Okay. So, have anyone of you know what a mind map is? Great. So, for those of us who don't know what a mind map is, let me introduce it to you now. So, mind map is a very good tool for helping us to brainstorm ideas and get our ideas organized. So when we need to do a mind map, the first thing is we will need a piece of paper. So our very nice helper are now distributing the paper for you to work on the exercise. So let's say we are planning for a speech, which the title is called How to Adapt to a New City. So if I'm preparing such a speech, what I will be doing is that I will do a mind map and I will take a piece of paper and then I will write down the topic of my speech at the center of the paper. So I will just write down the topic, how to adapt to a new city, at the center of my paper. And then I will add branches. I will branch out from the central idea. So these branches will be representing ideas that spin out from the central topic. So for this case, how to adapt to new cities. For these topics, I will be, if I'm planning for a speech on this topic, I will be thinking of ideas like if I'm moving to a new city, probably I will need to make new friends. So this will become one of the branch that spin out from the central idea. And then I will add more branches, more ideas that evolve from the central topics. So apart from making new friends, perhaps I will need to research for information about this new city, and also I will need to remind myself from time to time that I should have an open attitude. So these will be the branches that extend from my central idea. And then on top of each idea, I will be extending other ideas from this idea. So let's say for the points of research for informations, so what kind of informations do I need to understand this new city? So in this case, if I'm moving to a new city, probably I will need to understand the language of the new city, and also for the ways that I can get around. So I would need information about transportations, and we all want to have fun. So I will try to look for fun places to go, and then I will look for a place to do my groceries and shopping. So these will be the ideas that I can think of on top of these ideas that evolve from my central ideas. So this is how I add sub branches from this idea. Okay. So if we keep repeating the process, and doing it for several rounds for different ideas, then we will get a lot of branches for this mind map, and at the end we should get to a point which we get something like this, a complete mind map for our speech. So for this example, here we got this mind map and we got these three main ideas from the topics, and then on top of these three main ideas, we will have some ideas that extend, evolve from these ideas. So for this speech, how to adapt to a new city, as we have got these three main points, each of these points can form a part of our speech. So for this speech, we will have these three parts. And what we will need to do next is that we will just need to write sentence to link up all these ideas. And then if we have written up all those sentences and link up all those ideas, then our script for the speech will be done. So yeah. So what is good about this mind map exercise? Why I find it so useful for planning my speeches? Because it's helped me to get my ideas integrated and organized, and also how it makes writing easier. And so now I would like to invite all of you to do this exercise with me. It will take around 5 minutes, and I hope throughout this exercise we will have some practice on how we can make use of mind map to plan our speech. So let's assume that we are going to give a speech in the next toastmaster meeting, and the topic of the speech is called summer vacation. So if we are going to give this speech, can you try making a mind map and use the mind map tools to help you to brainstorm for ideas for the speech? So let's try to do it on our piece of paper, and let's see if we have any questions and any thoughts that arise from working on this mind map. So thanks for working on this exercise with me. Can I interview someone for their thought about this exercise? Is it helpful, or if you have any question when you are working on this exercise? So, what do you think? Do you find it? Have you done a mind map before?
No, this is my first time to hear the movement.
Okay, so do you find it easy or difficult to do it?
A little bit easy because I may not think so much before.
Okay, but do you find it helpful or no?
Yes, it's helpful to classify these thoughts into separate aspects.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
I have a comment about this. I think the mind map is really helpful because it really speeds up your process, and that you can actually pick what you want to write about. You can look at, okay, in my speech I want to talk about summer vacation, where I want to go. So it's very clear in that aspect. So I think because before when I used to write speeches, I kind of just like roughed it out, but I know that I ran into a lot of walls because it feel like I'm going in this direction, but it's like, it doesn't work this way. But I think with the mind map, it will save you a lot of time when you guys write your scripts.
Yeah, thanks for the comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that because I do like professional writing every day, and to be honest, I use this approach every time before I write an article or write a speech or whatever. And it has been helping me a lot in like brainstorming for ideas. So when in the writer's world, there's something called writer's block, which is something exactly like what the gentleman has mentioned. You sometimes when you haven't really planned what you haven't got a very well plan for the writing, you hit a wall, and all of a sudden you don't know what to write next. And so I find that mind map is a very helpful tool for me in writing, in helping me to get my ideas organized and helping me to get my speech or my writing structure. So before I wrap up this talks, I would like to share with you my final 2 tips on how to write a more engaging speech. So it will be something related to the choice of words and also the ways how you express your sentences. So for the choice of words, I would suggest one of us here, when we are writing a speech, try to use more verbs than adjectives, because verb is something very powerful for drawing immediate attention. So for example, like this very short phrases, hurry, look, try now. These are very short sentences that which usually contain only one word or just a few words, but they are very powerful in grabbing immediate attention from your audience. And another thing is that words always make sentence more persuasive. So here we got 2 sentences. So let's think about this scenario. So we need to describe the character of a gentleman. So we have 2 phrases for describing him. The first phrase is, he is sincere and responsible. The second phrase is, he led a team of engineers and worked through a holiday. So which phrase would you think that is better in terms of describing one character? Why?
Example.
Less passive.
Details.
Yeah, because if we taking a close look at these 2 sentences, we will see that the first sentence we use only adjectives to describe this gentleman. But in the second phrase, we use a lot of verbs like led and work, and these indicates action. So we always say that actions speak louder than words. So because we use this word, we indicate action, the action that the gentleman takes, and this reflects a lot about his character. And another tips is that when we are thinking about expressions, try to use more active voice and avoid passive voice. So here, two other sentences for us to compare. So the first sentence, she missed the subway and took the cab. And the second sentence is, the subway was missed and the cab was taken by her. Which sentence do you think is better?
First one.
First one.
First one.
First sentence, right?
Yeah.
So why the first sentence?
It's right. The second one sounds weird.
More easy to understand.
Yeah, because the first sentence is more straightforward because we use active voice, and it shows very clearly the actions the subject, the lady has taken. The second sentence, in the second sentence, we use a lot of passive voice, and it makes the sentence very passive and very loud and very bad. And so when we are formulating a speech, try to use more active voice and avoid using passive voice. Okay, so that's it for my talk today. It has been fun to give this speech. Very thanks a lot for the invitation.
Your presentation, and then also share so many good and useful and practical tips for our members. Thank you again. Yeah. So right now we need to do our timer and our counter report. So for timer, for the first one, Jimmy, yeah.
6 minutes.
6 minutes. And for the other.